Hi everyone, welcome to Java on Azure series. In the last video, we added the support of Azure Key Vault to our applications, and we moved the data source URL, the credentials to Azure Key Vault as secrets. And in this video, we will be focusing on events. We will see how to build event-driven systems. In such scenarios, we generally use an event streaming platform like Kafka. But since we are focusing on Azure, we will use an Azure offering which is similar to Kafka. This is known as AzureEventHubs. So instead of using Kafka directly, we will use AzureEventHubs to send the notifications. Same as Kafka, any producer can send notifications or events to AzureEventHubs, and any consumer or subscriber can listen to those events. In this video, we will simply focus on sending the events part. So we have an existing service, we will add the support of Azure Event Hubs. Then using that capability, we will send some notifications to Event Hub. And in one of the future videos, we will set up the consumer, we will develop the consumer to read those events. So what are the steps? We will set up an Azure Event Hub, and then we will enhance the application or existing Spring Boot app to trigger the events. So let's get started. The first step is creating the Event Hub, and to do that, we will go to the Azure portal. And here we need to create a new resource, which is Event Hubs. So let's go to create a resource. And here we can find Event Hub. This is the one. And let's create a new Event Hubs. And same as other resources, we need to fill up this form and provide the required information. So first select the resource group. We have an existing resource group and I'm going to use the same. Then we need to provide a namespace name. That is the namespace or the Event Hub namespace that we are going to use. So give it a meaningful name. I will name it Java on Azure Events. Okay. Coming to the pricing tier, I'm simply going to select the standard, which is recommended, and hit next. No need to change anything. This is going to be public access, tags, review and create. And now we will create the namespace. It will take some time, so I'll come back when this is created. The deployment is now complete. That means we have the Azure Event Hub created. So let's go to the resource. And here we can find the basic details about this Event Hub namespace. Now under this namespace, we need to create a new Event Hub. So go to the Event Hub section and create a new Event Hub. Give it a name. So let's name it Java Events. Okay. Next, capture. We don't need to focus on this one as of now. Let's create the namespace. Let's create the Event Hub now. And this Event Hub is now active. If you go to the details, and here you can find more information about this Event Hub, like how to capture events, how to process data, how to connect to this Event Hub. We can even create consumer group. This is similar to Kafka consumer groups. And under the namespace, which is this one, this particular Event Hub represents a topic. If we map it to Kafka terminology, so the consumers will read the events or the messages from this Event Hub, and similarly producers will generate the data or events for this Event Hub. And you can see that information here, like number of requests or the data about messages, the throughput, the consumer group, and so on. So now that we have a namespace, and under that namespace we have an Event Hub, which is kind of a topic, let's go to the service and enhance the Spring Boot service to send the events to this Event Hub. So we will update the book service that we created. So how do we start? How do we make this application aware of Azure Events Hub or Kafka? Spring has a project named Spring for Apache Kafka that can be used to develop applications in order to work with Apache Kafka. And since Azure Events Hub is an Azure offering for Apache Kafka, we can use the same project and everything else will be taken care of by the Spring Boot framework. So if we add the right dependency and provide the information where to find the Azure Event Hub, Spring Boot will auto-configure the project using the same project. If you need any help with the Spring Kafka project, please check out this video. And since we need to use this Spring for Apache Kafka project, we need to add a new dependency. To do that, we'll go to pom.xml, and here we will add a new dependency, which is Spring Kafka. And that's it. Reload the project. So we added this dependency. Now what? The second step is to provide the information where to find the Event Hub. Same as when we work with raw Kafka or native Kafka, we have to provide the details like bootstrap servers, the topics and everything. In the same way, since we are working with a cloud offering, we need to provide some connection parameters so that application can find where to send the notifications, where to find that infrastructure. All right. To do that, we'll go back to the application.properties, and here, same as other properties like key vault, we have a property where we can define the event hub. So let's provide that property, which is spring.kafka.bootstrap servers. And instead of providing the Kafka bootstrap servers, here we will provide the address of namespace. So let's go to the Azure portal, and this is the namespace that we need, which is Java on Azure Events. Go to the overview, and this is the host name that we need to provide. So copy this one, go to the book service, paste the address or the host name, and provide the port, which is 9093, and that's it. And notice here we have provided the host name of namespace, not the event hub. So if you go back to the Azure portal, this is the name of event hub namespace, and under this namespace we have this event hub with the name Java events, but we need to provide the host name for the namespace. All right, so we have added the dependency and we have provided the bootstrap servers. The next thing is we simply need to use Kafka template, which is provided by Spring Project. By using Kafka template, we can send the notifications to a topic, in this case, the event hub. So let's go to the book controller, and here, let's say whenever a new book gets created, we want to send a notification. First of all, we need to auto-wire the Kafka template. Like this. And for this example, we are focusing on the simplicity. So we will trigger a notification of type string. Let's name it Kafka template. Okay. Now this Kafka template will be configured by Spring Boot. So we don't need to do anything. Spring Boot will auto-configure the project, the application, this Kafka template, and it will be auto-wired and available to use in this controller. So once we save the book, at this point of time, we can use the Kafka template to send a notification, and notice we have many methods to send the data, and we are going to use this one, which accepts topic and the data. So the first one is topic. What is the topic? Topic is basically the name of event hub which we created under the namespace. So go to the Azure portal. This is the namespace, but we need to provide the name of event hub, which is this one. So copy this one and provide that name as topics. The second parameter is the actual data that we are sending. So we can simply use this one, that a book was created. All right. And this send call is basically an async call. So we can listen to it. We can say when complete, like this. This is the result. And in case there is an error, we will get that error in the callback. So if that variable is null, that means the call went successfully. We can get it printed. Event triggered successfully. But in case there is any exception or any error, in that case, variable will not be null. So we want to print the stack trace. So here in this controller, we are using this Kafka template to send an event after saving the book, that this book was created. And how are we configuring this Kafka template? Spring Boot is doing that with the help of the dependency that we added and the host or the URI of that event hub namespace. Okay. So we have everything. Let's start the service. And the service is up, and you can see some activities going on with Kafka because we added this Azure Event Hub support. All right. So how do we trigger this? We need to call this endpoint, which is HTTP post, that is to add a new book. So let's copy the port, go to the postman, and here we can simply replace the port. And that's it. We need to send an HTTP post request to add a new book that will trigger the notification. So let's create a new book, Event Hub. And now send the request. And here we got an error, internal server error. And if we check the log, it says not authorized to access this topic Java events. That means it has something to do with role assignment and the permissions. So let's fix this. We will go to the Azure portal, and here let's go back to the namespace. And in the access control section, add the role assignment. And here we need to provide this access as your EventHubs data owner that allows for full access. So let's select this one, hit next, select member. So I'm going to select my username like this, review and assign, and let's assign the permission. So the role has been assigned, and let me retry if it works now. So let me restart the application. And the service is up. Let's copy the port and retry the same request. Replace the port and change the details like this. And let's send the request again. And this time we get the successful response that book with ID 4 was created successfully. And if we check the logs, we don't see any error, but we see event triggered successfully. That means after creating the book, after saving the book in the database, we successfully triggered a notification and sent it to EventHub. That means the underlying Kafka. So if there are any consumers, any subscribers who are listening to these events, they can listen, they can read the data and react accordingly. But in this case, since there are no consumers, we have no way to see the data. We can only check that the event was sent to EventHub. So we will not be focusing on the consumers in this video. We will have a separate section on consumers, how to read the data from the topics. The important thing is in this video, we learned what is Azure Event Hubs and how can we use Azure Event Hub to move the Kafka workloads from local, from other environments or on-prem to Azure. So let's wrap up. Let's see what we did. If we go back to the project, here we added a new dependency, which is plain old Spring Kafka. Then we provided the host or the URI of namespace that we created, where to find that namespace. And finally, we used the regular Kafka template, the abstraction provided by the Spring framework, and the same classes and the same dependencies can now work with Azure Event Hub. That is the true power of Spring framework. So that's all for this video. Hope you liked this one. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.